Newspaper, why we accepted 70,000 naira minimum wage labor.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now, just as I predicted 80, really, I said somewhere between 60 and 80. So I was dead right. So after all the rigmarole, the acting, the huffing and puffing and whatever, the accepted minimum wage by labor is 70,000. So let's sit back and give ourselves like a month or two and see what the ripple effect will be like. Because there is nothing that said anything about alignment. Alignment in the sense that I was more concerned about value than the figure. Alignment is to look at the wage structure in the country generally. Nothing said about that. I think we've said a lot about that, and there's no point flogging a dead horse on that. So, Ajero says that they accepted the offer because of the prevailing situation in the country and promises made by Tinubu that the minimum wage will be reviewed every 3 years instead of 5 years. He says that what has been announced in terms of the amount of 70,000 happened to be where we are now. But the thing about it is that we will not wait for another 5 years to come to another review. Rather than setting out on a figure, we'll wait for 5 years. It's like we'll all have to now negotiate even 2 times within 5 years with a view to going up. And he says this is one of the reasons we decided to reach where we are today. And, it goes on and on and on. There's enough reasons to proffer why you would agree to this. Like I said, it's value. But so far, let's see. The workers' CSOs have different views. Mr. Tunde Salman, lead convener, Good Governance Team Nigeria, said, while the new minimum wage is a good development, its implementation, especially in the states, remains of concern. Now, remember that 70,000 is the minimum. You shouldn't be paying any worker less than 70,000. Loads of people have gone beyond that. I know most drivers in the private sector, for example, receive between 150 and 200, depending on how buoyant their bosses are. So, not much difference, if you ask me. The question we should be asking the government is, what can 70,000 buy in Nigeria today? Same question I've asked about value. We can categorically say that amount is not enough to buy a 50 kg of rice, talk more of being enough to meet the basic need of an average family of 6 people. The average worker is on a beg, borrow, or steal motion, okay? So beg, borrow, or steal is some theory that I contrived some years back, and that is to say that if a man has a legitimate responsibility to meet and he can't meet it, he'll either beg, he'll either borrow, or he'll steal outright. And that is the plight of the Nigerian worker today. I don't think, come to think of it, it would be naive of any employer to think that your worker lives on the salary that you pay him. That's what Nigeria is telling us now. That's what Nigeria is telling us now. So, and that is why corruption has become acceptable. Okay, now the person with that, now him be this thing, this is acceptable. So on his part, the director of Action Aid, Andrew Mamedu, commended President Tinubu, saying it is a positive step towards improving the living conditions. When it comes to the figure of 70,000, I don't think the president had much of an option, but we could have looked at value. The disparity in salaries and emoluments is damn too high in the public sector. And so the organized private sector says that has expressed concern over his ability to pay. They are saying they cannot even pay the 70,000, finding it difficult. And they say that they are overburdened by the high cost of production. Are we looking at retrenchment? Are we looking at more people losing their jobs? And they say that while we commend the president for putting to rest the immediate issue of the national minimum wage, we also note most importantly his commitment to support the subnationals and the organized private sector to pay the new wage. The NECA DG noted that during the consultations with the National Minimum Wage Committee, the organized private sector expressed concern about its ability to pay the 62,000 recommended by the tripartite committee. Long story short, a lot of cost of things are going to go up inevitably, and you realize very quickly, like I realized when I got my Udoji way back, that you are back where you started. If you're not careful, you'll probably be worse off. Now, also, there's a story here, about reactions that have trailed the decision of the members of the House of Reps to cut their salaries by 50% for 6 months as part of their solidarity and sacrifice to support efforts geared towards addressing the economic hardship and hunger Nigerians are going through at the moment. I didn't even know this. This is coming on me for the first time. Apparently, there's a proposal by the House of Reps to cut their salaries by 50%. But some people are not buying that, and they want to do it for 6 months only. People, and I agree with them, are saying that, look, it's not your salaries that are the major problem. It's your allowances, dressing allowance, TV allowance, toilet allowance, all these allowances that are loaded. Newspaper, how can you be buying newspaper for or dressing up a legislator? All these things. So people are now saying that, nope, don't cut your salaries, cut your allowances. Okay, so the deputy speaker had said that the salary cut was to be used to support federal government's efforts to address the rising costs. The Senate didn't follow likewise, though. And by slashing their salaries by 50%, the 360 lawmakers would be sacrificing just 108 million monthly for the next 6 months. This will amount to 648. At least it's symbolic. At least they feel the need. It's symbolic, and they feel the need. I wish they had rejected the vehicles. As far as I'm concerned, the government has no business buying vehicles for a lawmaker. A lawmaker should be able to approach his bank for a car loan. There are car loans all over the place, and that's what it should be. These are the things that are creating problems for ripple effects. Buying vehicles for them and so on and so forth. No. He should be able to go buy a car within his means. Anyway, so he says many Nigerians have rejected the move, with some asking the lawmakers to slash their allowances instead. I think the allowances is completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. The one I find most, by the way, anyway, the one as you can see, I've run out of shirts now. I'm now wearing barbaric. And this dressing allowance, and they get dressing allowance, they get newspaper allowance, and so on and so forth. Anyway, it says that former Vice President Atiku, liking the sacrifice of the lawmakers as a drop in the ocean, he is quoted to have said, "The sacrifice of members of the House of Reps is commendable in optics, but it is a drop in the ocean. The diamonds are in the allowances and not the salaries of lawmakers and government officials in general." And Atiku also asked, what happened to the much trumpeted implementation of the Rensai report? Anyway, so that's what it is, why we accepted the minimum wage labor, and we took the story from the Daily Trust.
Right, so we're going to go to the Punch right now. Let's go to the Metro page of the Punch.
Let's go to the Metro page of the Punch. Crime, as usual. 25 human trafficking victims rescued. This was in Delta. Police raid hoodlums hideout in Bauchi. 23-year-old arrested for allegedly defiling teenager. What else is here? Police hunt man who killed apprentice with shovel. Pastors, 2 others nabbed for assaulting non-Nigerian. This was very unfortunate. They were assaulting a 90-year-old woman somewhere in Edo State. Police arrest 2 suspected illicit drug traffickers in Imo. And what else is there? Sanwo-Olu pays 30 patients open heart surgery bills. That in itself is commendable, but I'd like to ask, why don't we have something, for example, that says that the government, at least for the unemployed and even the employed self, you really can't meet up your medical bill. Can't we have some insurance policy where government will pay the premium? And we can have good health for our citizens, even if you cannot have an outright free whatever. If you have if you're registered in LASRA and so on and so forth, can't we have a situation where the government pays the premium to cover especially the very expensive medical challenges, which are coming up more and more, you know, because of the situation, bad nutrition, bad living, and so on and so forth, cancer, stroke, all these things. Once these things happen to you, you are bound to the Philistines, you're on your own. We would love the governments, our politicians, to think of some all-round policy that makes health available to all. And there's also a story here now. Governor's wife and Lasso seek end to gender violence. Another one, Lagos State government moves to address rising food costs. How do they want to do that? Lagos State government has set efforts at reducing the current high food prices and building a proper reserve management system are ongoing. The Commissioner for Agric and Food Systems, Mrs. Abiola Odusanya, said the essence was to review the activities of the ministries and to gear up towards managing the current food crisis. In Lagos, we are constructing a feed lot. Okay? Is that different, Sheriff, from the hub that we had? Is that hub still functional?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, not sure.
I'm not sure.
Okay, in Lagos, we are constructing a feed lot. We know Lagos as a hub, not just for marketing of food, but also the fact that when it comes to cattle, sheep, and goats, Lagos remains the epicenter where this particular livestock is sold. I think it would be nice if we could get the madam to come and tell us what this new food lot is about.
Okay.
If you call your friend, he will arrange it for
Who is my friend?
Mr. Motosho.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know. Me, that I'm expensive. I didn't even know.
You don't know that he's your friend?
We're friends, yes.
No, he's my friend, but you have the Oga Pata Pata. You have the letterhead. I don't have a letterheaded paper. Also, there's a story that CBN resumes BDC dollar sale, and the naira to the dollar now 1,570.
I saw in the news that the CBN will sell dollars to BDCs for 1,400 and something naira.
But it says here 1,570.
Yeah, maybe that's from the BDCs now to the people.
So who in Nigeria is not a millionaire?
I think the question is, what's the value of the millions?
That's what I'm saying. Everybody is a millionaire. I remember way back when I was young, and they say, I remember my good friend Popo Alati says his dad was a millionaire. He had a Pontiac, this fine American car. His dad was a millionaire. These days, every other person is a millionaire. We've lost control. I don't know how we ever got to this stage.
Yeah.
It's so depressing. So depressing. I remember complaining when I was buying currency at 4 to 1.
Yeah.
I thought the world had come to an end. Look at where we are now, 1,578 to 1. At this rate, 3-4 years from now, if you still have these people in government, what do you think the rate will be?
Okay, let's go take this story in the Guardian newspaper. Army General loses Ikoyi Apapa properties in Lagos over fraud.
You see now, this is why just the situation we are talking about is these corrupt practices that brings all this about. One general who has been on salary right from the time he was second lieutenant. Because he's a major, I don't know whether he got a mortgage from the bank or whatever it was. The man he used to be the managing director of Nigerian Army Properties Limited, Major General Mohammed. A judge of the High Court gave an order yesterday that the following properties should be confiscated from him. One general.
Yeah.
If you are familiar with Ikoyi, I want you to listen to the addresses of where. This is Ikoyi. This is not, some people who live in Obalende, they claim that they live in Ikoyi. But Ikoyi people know themselves. Okay. Ikoyi starts from Ikoyi Cemetery forward. Once you get to the cemetery, anything after that
You're
is
casting them.
No, but it's from Ikoyi Cemetery, then it's Ikoyi starts.
You're casting people that are saying that they stay in Ikoyi.
I'm not casting them. The truth is, if I want to give you direction, Mr. Disu, please, I want to go to Ikoyi. Obalende stops at Ikoyi Cemetery. From Ikoyi Cemetery, bam, like this, forward is Ikoyi. Is there anything wrong in the entrance of a place? Is there anything wrong in it being
You are
Ikoyi Cemetery?
you are casting them.
I'm not casting them. But if you know Ikoyi very well, listen to where the properties are. One general, Shansa, 8B, Bedwell Road, Ikoyi. Number 3, Force Road, Ikoyi. These are prize areas. Number 14, Glover Road, Ikoyi. It doesn't stop there. Number 6, Marina, Ikoyi. Hapa.
Yep.
And then number 28, Point Road, Apapa. When I was growing up, I could count the number of people that lived in Ikoyi way back then. 90% of Ikoyi were government houses. So people were allocated. So people have this wrong impression that the rich people lived in Ikoyi. No. I would say they were privileged. You had MDs of multinational. In those days, people would even put their names in front of their houses with the company logo. There were only 2 prominent Nigerians that I remember growing up that lived in Ikoyi. One was Chief S.B. Bakari. The other was Chief Fajemi Rokun. But overnight, the demand for, Nigerians, like what they've done to King's College and Queen's College, everybody wants to squeeze into. Do you know, I don't know, they haven't stated here what the value of these houses are.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if you want to buy number 8, Bedwell Road, Ikoyi, Omo, some of these are on half an acre. I remember as a young kid, my uncle's house, Subaya and all of them in Ikoyi, it would have a house, but it would be like on 1 acre. You could have a whole big party in compound itself and all the cars parked inside. Now, this is what was seized from our general, who have given the responsibility to quell all the violence and whatever and the wars going on. It is sad. Moving the application for final forfeiture of the properties, Mohammed told the court that the commission had complied with the order of the court regarding the publication. Okay, so there was a publication that was put out, and so in the interim, the properties have been seized. Investigation revealed that the properties were fraudulently misappropriated and the proceeds of the sale diverted for personal use. Day in, day out, we hear these stories. And you continue to ask yourself, very soon what will be left of us of public funds and properties if just one person has about these 5 or 6 seats from him?
Not just one person. That's military person. What does that say about the military?
The military is a Nigerian.
Nigerian military.
He's a Nigerian. You think you won't? Is there any sector that you won't have people doing this? As for the politicians, forget. Military is a Nigerian. We tolerate it. We are happy. The man will be an elder in his church or mosque, Baba Adini or something. I think we should stop reading these stories. It's very, very upsetting. As I am, my stomach, it's very, very upsetting. And the rest of us continue to suffer. For how long is this going to happen?
And these
there
are the
is
ones
something.
that can
There
trace.
is something that this story teaches me, but because of real maturity, I cannot state it. But it points to a dangerous direction, and that is why stories like this that involve the military, I will no longer read them on radio, because the effect of what I'm thinking, if it comes, it might not stop with just them.
All right.
Owenu,
Efalaji.
Efalashi.
Editorial in The Guardian is next. Student loan. Institutions should submit enrollees' data on time.
Yes. The Guardian is writing about NEL Fund, essentially. And the paragraph for for the benefit of students and young people, Nigerian students have waited for too long for the loan scheme to start. There should be no any further form of delay. Now that it has taken off, we call on all stakeholders to exhibit high sense of responsibility in ensuring a smooth implementation for the goal to be realized. The government must ensure that the money is constantly available and sufficient to be disbursed as loans. The academic institutions must be diligent and timely in submitting data on enrollees from their schools to NAFund, while the benefiting students must respect the terms of the deal to ensure sustainability of the scheme for the benefits of millions of other indigent students, meaning that, if you take that loan, please pay back. NELFund owes this country a responsibility of ensuring that the scheme is not politicized. The agency must be prompt in handling or processing of requests for loans and must be open to all needy and qualified students irrespective of political, religious, or ethnic background. I have decided that I'm going to try and bring in Dr. Sawyer again. We will continue to lean on him. This is very crucial, very hot on my mind for our young people. You remember the story we carried yesterday? It says it has more people, more students from the north than from the south. I don't know how that came about, but what it is what it is. So we'd like everybody. The story said that it appears that a lot of the southerners are skeptical. What do you lose by applying? It's sheer laziness. It's sheer laziness. How do you translate Alain Nkosi to English now? It's sheer laziness. You just sit back and say, hey, it is a scam.
They don't need it.
Oh, you think so?
They don't need it. If you need something, you go after it. You know, they don't need it.
Yeah, well, I guess so. But we will play our part because yes, we'll try to keep driving it and getting those who are sensible enough to take advantage. Because a student needs every penny he can lay his hands on. If the last time I heard, this fund will, in the first instance, pay your school fees. I mean, pay your school fees in the first instance. How much this country has been good to our generation. We went to school virtually almost free. So there was, in our own time, you cannot find us thinking that one person is poor and one person is rich. It was equal opportunities.
Let's go take another editorial, this time in the Trust. Lessons of the British elections.
Oh, it was a beauty to watch. It was a beauty. It was so entertaining. It's unbelievable. The Daily Trust wrote a fantastic article. Unfortunately, I can't read the whole thing. But they say here that Starmer, the guy who won the election, has said in his post-election, unlike somebody we know, he said, whether you voted, they have Labour, Conservative, and a few other parties, he said, whether you voted Labour or not, in fact, especially if you did not, I say to you directly, my government will serve you. The paper talks about the speed of the transition, that it was phenomenal. The morning after the election, both Sunak and Starmer visited King Charles for ceremonial blessings, as tradition demanded. Sunak caved in very early. He didn't waste anybody's time. No tribunal, nothing. The lawyers had to go and find something else to do. Nobody was taking anybody to court. And shortly after handing in his resignation to King Charles, Sunak moved out of 10 Downing immediately. Then his black Range Rover was spotted beetling along a narrow country road as the MP for Richmond and Northallerton, and he went home to his New Yorkshire constituency. Within 40 minutes, Starmer and his family moved into 10 Downing. They didn't say that when Sunak was going, he carried fridge, AC, inverter, kitchen utensils. He just drove out, and within hours, the other man had moved in with his family. The simplicity was unprecedented, especially for Africans used to long waits for new governments to take shape. One more time, we give thanks to Dr. Ebele Jonathan for what he did. We will forever be grateful to him. Only God knows where this country would have been if he hadn't caved in early, way back then. We give thanks to him and we salute him. It says that there was absence of power of incumbency There was no vote buying. There was no thuggery. There was no hijacking of the electoral umpire and declaring fake results. It was democracy in action. Our own INEC chairman, I wish he watched what was going on. And I wonder what happens to him after watching it. He goes to the toilet to wash his hands and he looks at his face in the mirror. You know, and so we at Daily Trust congratulate the UK citizens on the election and urge the new government to seize the moment. By the way, I don't know if the SSA is still an SSA in this government. Don't go congratulating on behalf of Nigerians. The so-called Nigerians who have won elections in the UK, they are not Nigerians, they are UK citizens. They just have, in fact, they are just of Nigerian descent. I mean, this suggestion about 2 years ago got me heavily insulted by this SSA. But because I'm well-trained and well-mannered, I just ignored it. I was heavily insulted. You, on behalf of the government, you are congratulating Nigerians in the UK. Abba, come on. They have Nigerian descent. In that election, they are UK citizens, and indeed one of them said so. But, well, I mean, we all come from different backgrounds, so I was insulted publicly. Did you remember?
Yes, of course.
Of course. But you didn't fight for me at that because you two you're well bred. You will ignore them. They say when they go, what is it now? Is it when they go?
When they go low.
You go high.
Go
When
high,
they go high,
yes.
you go low. This is badly brought up people. Anyway, so that's it. You know, we congratulate the UK citizens and. Would we learn any lesson from that?
I doubt it. I doubt it because Nigeria is filled with very highly self-centered, greedy, hollow, empty, self-entitled politicians.
Continue with the description. I don't know what stuff a lot of our political leaders are made of. I just don't know. You'll be going from one court to the other. Shaibu has gone to court again. I think he was declared deputy governor yesterday.
Yes.
Then they will go on appeal, and we waste valuable time, waste so much public money, and we never really get down to. It's a hard task being a Nigerian.
It's really difficult.
Extremely difficult. And I think the advent of the social media and all these stations that show how things are done in other countries, it makes it even more difficult. Nigerians can see that we really shouldn't be living the way we are. You know?
Well, we have to go. You're back at 9.
I'm back at 9. Yo, Jerry. It's a sad state of affairs.
Yes, it is. Let's leave the studio for Kofi Vatels to come and wrap up for the morning crossfire. Then JD is back at 9 after
I'll be
Kofi.
back at 9.
Yeah, stay here, Lagos. Good morning.
.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.